is Katie Stovall, and I'm going to be your technical producer this evening. Before we get started, let's take a moment to ensure that everyone is ready and familiar with the webinar control panel. On the right side of the screen, you'll see the attendee control panel, and on the left is the webinar viewer window. The viewer window will display the presenter's screen when the webinar begins. The control panel can be minimized or expanded by clicking on the horizontal double arrow button in the upper left. Minimizing the panel allows for just a better view of the presentation. There are a few other items that you should know as we're going through the presentation tonight. Be familiar with the Raise Your Hand button. This button is located along the left side of the control panel. It allows you to virtually raise your hand if you have a question or want to respond to something being asked during the presentation. Clicking on it will raise your hand, and then clicking on it again will lower your hand. Another important feature is on the control panel is the questions pane. To submit a question, type it into the questions box, or you can use the chat pane. We'll be watching both of them, so feel free to pick a question, or I think Kim's going to ask some questions and then look for your responses in the chat pane as well. We're also going to have a few polls this evening, so please make sure that you participate in those and stay attentive. Make sure you're paying attention and interact as much as possible. The quality of your experience depends on your attention and participation. Try to avoid distractions of responding to email, checking Facebook, instant messaging, or working on other tasks. If you have to walk away from your computer, don't close the GoToWebinar system. You'll be required to log back in again if you want to rejoin. If you experience any problems with the audio, one solution we recommend is to use the conference call number and listen to the presentation on your phone. Click the Use Telephone option on the audio pane of your control panel to view the conference call number. It'll give you the instructions as you call in. We are recording this webinar, and it will be archived to view and up on the website in about 2 weeks. Kim, I'm going to hand the mic over to you.
All right, great. Katie, thank you so much for helping me out tonight. I appreciate it.
Not a problem.
And good evening, everyone. I really appreciate your flexibility with the time. We apologize for having the mix up between 8 and 8:30. And Vicki, thank you for catching it, because I probably would have caught it at an hour before, which wouldn't have been as productive. As you heard, my name is Kim Mirabelli, and I will be your FIT facilitator this year. I have been involved with Leadership Academy pretty much since its inception. I think I've missed 2 in the last 12 years or so. It's very near and dear to my heart, so I'm really excited that I'm actually doing a role I've never done before, and that is to be the facilitator and training facilitator. So I'm really excited to work with you, and I'm going to be learning new things just as you guys are. Okay, so I am trying to move forward. There we go. All right. So really excited that you have all showed the interest to become a FIT and will participate in this year's CAPA's Leadership Academy. And as you know, this is truly the flagship leadership experience that our collegiate and alumni women experience in CAPA, which you all have had that experience now. And you're going to have a different and more critical role in being a FIT this year with the participants. So that's pretty exciting. The women who participate in this program, much like yourselves, are going to continue to build and hone their leadership skills, as well as represent our message of Aspire to Be. And I know, even though I have done Leadership Academy 10 or 11 times, it seems like every time I do it, I learn something new about myself and learn a new skill to take back home. So it's exciting to be a part of this program, even on this side. So for the next hour, hopefully maybe not a full hour, we will cover a variety of topics to get you prepared and started for your adventure of being a FIT. And this is all really to help you prepare for arriving at Leadership Academy and assuming this role as a FIT. This program has actually been revamped as of last year, courtesy of Sarah Bowman. Sarah is our new talent management director at CAPA, and she was actually part of the original inception of Leadership Academy when she originally worked at CAPA. But this program is really going to help you not only get more comfortable with the Leadership Academy curriculum, but also the facilitation skills necessary to be a Leadership Academy facilitator. And that's one of the cool changes in the program, is that it'll be a little bit more focused on facilitation than it was in the past, and actually learning about facilitation and the types of style of facilitation. And Katie and I were chatting before the session, and she has been through this program, and that wasn't as big of a part of it. So I do think this will be exciting to see the continual progression of this. So let's get started with what we're going to talk about. So we're going to talk about Leadership Academy expectations, and obviously, since this is the flagship program, expectations are going to be pretty critical. So we'll go through that for your role within Leadership Academy. We'll also go through the LPI 360. So you should have all received the instructions to do the 360, and also asking for feedback from your colleagues and friends, which is a little different than what you did last year, and we'll dive into that a little bit more. If you haven't received that, I will ask you to put that into the chat room, because we want to make sure everybody is prepared for the 360. Then we're going to go through the opening night. I call it Pecha Kucha, but I know that's not how it's really pronounced, and you'll hear the right pronouncement a little bit later when we go through a presentation. But it is really fun to say. I had never heard of this until I received all of the materials to be your facilitator. So I think it's going to be a fun time together when we're doing this. So I will explain what that means and your preparation for that. And then the one-on-one coaching conversations. I think everybody is now signed up for a coaching session with me. I have one conflict again that I need to redo, and I'll email that person separately. But we will get together, and it's a really important part because it allows me to get to know you and how I can help you make the most of this experience. So I'm excited to have those one-on-ones with you, and that's another new introduction to the FIT program. And then finally, we'll run down a pre-work checklist. So it seems like a lot, but I think we can get through it all without a problem. So I'm going to ask Katie just to pull up the poll, and what I'd like to ask is, when you think about putting on the facilitator in training hat in just 8 or so weeks, I can't believe it's only 2 months away, does it make you pumped and ready to go, happy to be with your sisters near and far, nervous and anxious at all there is to do, which you'll understand a little bit in a few minutes, or all of the above?
All right, people are voting. Since there's not many of us, I'm going to go ahead and close the poll. And we had 20% are pumped and ready to go, and the remaining 80% have checked all of the above.
Awesome. Well, I'm impressed with the 20% that are pumped and ready to go and not nervous, because I'm a little nervous that I am able to get through everything to teach you guys. But very excited to see that you guys, are excited to be a part of it, excited to be with each other. But I think it is completely natural to be a little nervous. I was telling Katie ahead of time, because I've done Leadership Academy so many times, I can kind of do it in my sleep. I don't need to prepare that much, just other than a refresher. So to do something completely new, I was looking at the curriculum over the weekend, and I thought, oh my gosh, this is a whole new ballgame for me when it comes to Leadership Academy, but a really good one. Like I said, I started to learn things I had forgotten about since grad school, frankly. So really excited. So thank you for taking the poll. So I'm going to go on to the next slide now. So as I mentioned in the beginning, this program obviously is our flagship. It's probably one of the most important programs we have with CAPA. And because of that, all of us who participate in it are expected to really uphold everything that Leadership Academy means. And we're going to expect you to uphold the expectations of being a FIT, of being a registration ambassador, as well as being a CAPA sister. And so let me go through those expectations for each of those three people you will be during Leadership Academy, and then I will ask you just to share some of your expectations of what you expect of being a fit. So first, as a fit, we are expecting you to invest in playing a bigger role this year than when you were as a participant. You know, as a participant, you had a video to watch and had to get all your travel arrangements and make sure you packed bug spray, but other than that, you know, you kind of just showed up and were ready for whatever was thrown at you. Because of your role this year, there will be a greater investment of time and energy and resources, which is why we really kind of start things a lot earlier, which was a little foreign to me when I was first looking at everything to figure out, well, why are we having our meeting in July when Leadership Academy is in September? And then I realized, you know, there's a lot for us to prepare ahead of time, both, you know, all of you as well as me, in order to make that weekend at Leadership Academy as productive and successful as possible. So you're probably already starting to realize the time commitment, given that you're here tonight, as well as signing up for the one-on-one conversations. And then you'll, you know, see some more pre-work that we'll need to do. But there has been a lot of time going into this curriculum for you, and so all CAP is expecting is just to have that investment back, so that, you know, you really can get as much out of that weekend as we hope you would. Also, you will be participating as a registration ambassador, which I'm not sure if this is new this year or started to be new last year, but we will actually start our curriculum on Thursday. We'll actually start it Wednesday night, but then when the facilitators are getting their rooms ready for the participants, we'll all be together starting our curriculum, so we get a little bit of a head start. But we will take a break in the middle of the afternoon on Thursday for you to start to greet the participants. We're just going to expect you to, you know, welcome them when they get off the bus, walk them to registration, take them over to their cabin and get settled, and really just, you know, like it says, be an ambassador for Leadership Academy and CAPA. And hopefully, you know, for those of you, well, you've all been a part of Leadership Academy, but, you know, those of you that it might be a little bit more recent, you may remember kind of getting off the bus a little bit of apprehension there, not sure what to expect. So hopefully by having all of you there, that will just, and as well as the rest of the staff, will help ease that apprehension a little bit. So then the last one is probably the one we all do for all of our CAPA jobs, is just, you know, the most important thing is just to remember that, you know, we're going to be with our CAPA sisters. We're going to be forming a lot of new friendships. I personally am really excited. I get to spend 4 days with all of you. Some of your names I've heard of before. I've met some of you before, some I haven't. But, you know, as we always expect, especially since, you know, we are part of the, you know, event staff and part of the program is not as a participant, that, you know, we do all of our interactions, whether it's with the small group, welcoming me off the bus, with each other, that we do so with respect, patience, and kindness, which I highly doubt would be an issue for any of you, or you probably wouldn't be here participating in the FIT program. So the one thing I do want to share is that while you'll be in this facilitator and training program this year, there is no guarantee that you'll definitely be a facilitator next year. Because one of the successful parts of Leadership Academy is having a balance of veteran Leadership Academy facilitators who have done it a number of years and having newer facilitators be a part of it. So they really strive for an 8 and 8 model. I think there's about 16, anywhere from 14 to 16 facilitators. So they try to do, you know, half new or have only done it a couple times, and 8 veteran facilitators. And you'll see that because we have 9 FITs and there are 8 truly veteran facilitators, so 2 of you will be paired up for the observation of a small group. I did ask about that, and they said they prefer you guys to see the veteran facilitators, which makes sense because they've done it enough times that it's pretty fluid when they're doing it. But the good news is that going through this program does allow you to be eligible for other facilitating opportunities that exist because Leadership Academy. One is Lead Today, which is when we take Leadership Academy to a school. This past year we were in Texas. I want to say it was North Texas. I can't remember what the name of the school. And also Leadership Academy 2.0, which is the next level up from Leadership Academy that we do, I think, every other year. They may have missed a year there, but we do it every other year. And then there's also a new program that they're working on called LA 62.0, where it's working on a program to help those that are reaching retirement or in retirement on how to use their skills, their experiences, their passions, and apply it to that next stage in life. So really excited to hear more about that program. So your participation this year in this program will make you eligible for everything Leadership Academy related, which is really exciting. So I just talked a lot, so I'm going to take a break just for a moment and wanted to get what your expectations were. We obviously know you're sacrificing a lot by being away for 4 or 5 days essentially. So if you could take a few minutes to write in the chat room, what are some of your expectations of being a fit and being part of Leadership Academy this year? So either I lost everybody or nobody's typing.
Kim, I have one from the questions pane.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
Michelle mentions being utilized in meaningful ways. Other than that, she's pretty much open to whatever comes her way.
Awesome. Yeah, and I didn't.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, Michelle, I think you'll find that even though our program is very structured, you will have opportunities to observe a small group. You'll observe the same small group the whole weekend. Obviously, you're going to have some time away from the group to be the registration ambassador. We have different activities as a group, so I think you will find that there'll be a lot of different opportunities for you to see different, kind of more of the behind-the-scenes pieces of Leadership Academy.
Awesome. Vicky's looking forward to seeing the behind-the-scenes and how the curriculum is put together, and also to watch some of the great facilitators in action.
Yeah, that's probably the most exciting part of it. I'm excited to see Felicity Mew be the large group facilitator because I haven't seen that yet since she started last year, so I'm very excited about that.
Awesome. Let's see. We have Katie's excited to learn more about how to cultivate leadership skills in others.
Perfect. Good. Yeah, we'll do a lot about small group, kind of the dynamics of a small group and how to pull things out of them and facilitate. So I think that will go hand in hand with that in terms of, teaching them how to kind of teach themselves about the leadership skills.
Awesome. And then Rebecca's mentioned that she's hoping to learn more about the leadership principles and applying them and getting even more connected with Kappa.
Awesome. I don't think that will be a problem. You'll definitely get well connected with us, that's for sure.
Awesome.
All right.
That's all I've got.
Okay, great. And Rebecca, I did see your note about the LPI, so after this call, I will get on the horn with Karen Holmes and make sure you get that. So that leads us into your note about the LPI. That leads us into this next piece. Let me get there. Is to talk a little bit about the LPI 360. So other than Rebecca, hopefully everybody on the call has received their notice to do what you need to do through the instructions for the LPI. And as you may remember from when you took it in the past, it really gauges your abilities in the 5 practices of leadership based on the Leadership Challenge. And obviously that's what the LA curriculum is based on. And yeah.
I have a couple more people that have not received it. I just wanted to let you know.
Oh, that would be perfect. Please do.
Okay. I will send along the names.
Awesome. Okay, thank you. So it's similar to what you took as a participant, but only now what we're doing is asking colleagues and friends or peers, maybe not friends, but peers to also take it so that we can have a full breadth of your talents and strengths. So it's, you know, you've probably all at some point in your life, careers, whatever, taken different personality tests, taken different leadership tests, and a lot of times they're self-assessments, and I always find that they're not nearly as comprehensive as when you either have to get feedback from others or when you're taking something that's a bit more hands-on, when you actually have to do things so that they can tell what your style is. So I think this will be a really nice way to round out what you've done in the past. Now, you may be wondering, why is it that important to do that? Well, this is your next step in growth in leadership, at least from a Leadership Academy perspective. And as you know, we're always looking for opportunities to, have Kappa women lead in new and different directions. And this is our opportunity to provide you that greater depth of information so that you can develop into stronger influencers and certainly, strong facilitators, because we're going to use that information into the FIT program. And as you'll hear when I start talking about the one-on-one coaching is, I'm going to do my best to provide as much feedback and coaching to you individually as I will as a whole group. So the more I know about you through the results of the 360, the better we'll do together in order to make you the best facilitator that we can. So I think since there's a number of people that haven't gotten it, oh, I see it now, okay. So Mei Ling, Katie, and Rebecca. Okay, I will send, my script says to have you guys email Karen Holmes, but I'm going to do that tonight, and I will copy you, the three of you, just so you have it and know it went out. Your feedback is due July 31st, I believe, but you will need to get the names of the people to Karen as soon as possible. I don't know exactly how that works, but the observer's feedback is due August 15th. So we still have a month. And you don't need to send it to a lot of people. I think just, I think there's a minimum of 3 most likely. So I think we still have enough time to get it done. Okay. Anything else on the LPI that anybody wants to share, especially those that might have gotten it, that might have had some challenges with it?
No one has typed anything, but
okay.
We'll just give it another second.
Okay.
So far, it looks like no challenges.
Awesome. Okay, good. Good. I am sorry that the 3 of you didn't get it, so I will make sure we get that dealt with tonight. So the one part of I felt like the curriculum that was completely new to me was this thing called PechaKucha, which is not how it's really pronounced, but I had been practicing how it's really pronounced, and it had failed miserably. So that will be one of our activities on Wednesday night, is for us to really learn how to say it. But like I said, this is the most interesting to me because it's completely new. It's a type of presentation style, and this also was introduced by Sarah Bowman last year, and I just think it's really cool that they've introduced this because, first of all, don't panic about it. You will be asked to do one of these, so I'm going to set that straight right up the front so you know as you're watching the video that I'm going to show. But I think it's going to be pretty fun and easy because it's going to be all about you. So for those of you who are unfamiliar with it, like I was, PechaKucha is actually the words for chit-chat in Japanese. And it's a presentation format where you do 20 slides and each slide is 20 seconds for a total presentation time of 6 minutes and 40 seconds. But what's cool about it is it's really done in a storytelling format where you're answering a question and challenging the audience to do something with the information that you've shared. What I love about this is for those of you who went through Leadership Academy when Linda Patton was our large group facilitator, she is the master of storytelling. I couldn't even come close to what she does. And I love that we've introduced this into our curriculum at a minimum. It's not Leadership Academy yet, only because I do think it helps facilitators learn how to tell story. And oftentimes telling a story is a very effective way to get information across to your participants. It doesn't always work. It doesn't always fit the curriculum you're working with, but I do think it's a cool way to learn a different style of presenting. Now, what's interesting is this is really, like PechaKucha organizations have been spurred up in many different cities, similar to TED Talks, and oftentimes there's a monthly event held where people can just get up and share their story. And so, you know, it's pretty cool. It's these amateurs getting up. So what we're going to do now is take about 8 minutes and watch a video of a PechaKucha, and again, you'll learn that I'm saying it completely wrong, but I think you will find it is very cool. So if you have any problems hearing or seeing this, just let Katie know through the chat screen, and then we will we'll try and fix it.
PechaKucha is a Japanese word for chit-chat, and is the name of a presentation format created in Japan in 2003 by Astrid Klein and Mark Dyson, two architects looking for a way people could share their work quickly and simply in public. Since then, their ideas spread to over 700 cities around the world. For every PechaKucha night, creative thinkers come together and share their ideas with only 20 images shown for 20 seconds each. PechaKucha, a fast, fun format. Find the location. Join the conversation.
So it is now my esteemed pleasure to introduce our first speaker for the evening. He's originally from the shopping mall capital of the world, Paramus, New Jersey, which obviously led to his pursuit of degrees in business and management. He currently serves as the Director of Student Life at Rutgers University, New Brunswick, and has the esteemed pleasure of supervising me for the past 7 years. Clearly, I am writing his introduction. When not on campus, he enjoys trying all different types of sports, especially the adventure sports like snowboarding, rock climbing, and whitewater kayaking. Prior to starting his family, he baked over 2,000 Christmas cookies in 40 varieties for friends and families every single year. And that is true. I'm not even making that up. That's why it's so fascinating. He is here tonight to urge us all to reclaim our childlike curiosity. Please join me in welcoming to the stage my dear friend and mentor, Tony Duty.
Do you remember when you looked at the world with wide-eyed wonder, like a kid in a candy store? On the surface, curiosity is nothing more than what we feel when we're struck by something novel. It's a journey filled with learning, fun, and play. We enter life enthusiastic, open with fresh ideas, and we come out years later having learned in most cases the importance of being correct rather than being curious. And the latest research shows that while average IQ has been rising with each generation, the CQ, or creativity quotient, has been falling since 1990. Now, I was fortunate to have family and friends that fed my curiosity with trips to the museum, county fairs, plays in a park, and much, much more. Behind me are a few of the activities that I've tried to master over the course of my lifetime, and there's probably a few up there you might not expect to see. Now, curiosity at its core is the engine of growth and the seed of new ideas. When we're curious, we explore. When we explore, we discover. When we enjoy it, we do it again, and by repeating it, we develop mastery. When there is no curiosity, it creates a breeding ground for stereotyping and discrimination, which in the extreme can lead to hatred and violence. In the absence of curiosity, there is only black and white. There are no shades of gray. And curiosity starts with a question, doesn't it? And sometimes a tug on the beard. And we set out on this quest for knowledge at the earliest of ages. If you've ever talked to a preschooler, you know that they ask questions profusely A recent study showed that an average 4-year-old can ask as many as 400 questions in a single day. I have twins. And Paul Harris, a Harvard child psychologist, has found that children can ask between 40 and 50,000 questions between the ages of 2 and 5. The physicist Neil deGrasse Tyson compares children to scientists because they like to turn over rocks, mash things together. But they're also like anthropologists. They ask people around them questions. Questions are the flashlights that shine a light on where we need to go. So it could be said that curiosity is so intuitive, so natural that even a child could do it, yet chances are for the rest of our lives we will never ask questions as unabashedly and imaginatively as we did in our formative years. By the time we reach high school, the average student asks less than 1 question a day. Why? Well, by then we learn that it's more important to tell the teacher what they want to hear than to ask a good question. When kids stop asking questions, they simultaneously become less engaged at school. And we know engagement precedes learning. And learning becomes this uphill struggle without deep inquiry and exploration. And as adults, questioning is largely discouraged. As adults, we perceive, often correctly, that questioning can be hazardous to our career. That to raise a hand in a meeting and ask why is to risk being seen as uninformed or insubordinate. We need to fix this. Our world is changing. As far back as 2010, the Wall Street Journal predicted that new college grads will have 7 careers, not jobs, careers over the course of their lifetime. More than ever, it's not what we know, but how quickly we respond to change. And we need to consider a shift from pedagogy to andragogy to hudagogy. Notwithstanding the fact I managed to combine 3 of the messiest words into one single sentence, I think there's a profound thought here. Literally translated, pedagogy means to lead the child, andragogy to lead the adult, hudagogy to lead to find. Pedagogy in a traditional sense is instructional learning. The teacher provides a destination and a knowledge. Andragogy is self-directed. The path and pace feature greater student involvement. In hudagogy, there isn't necessarily a prescribed path. The learner chooses the what and the how. Now, as an example, when I was 12 years old, with the help of my friends and my brother, I taught myself computer programming. I wanted to recreate some of my favorite arcade games of the day, some classics like Asteroids and Space Invaders. Now, I didn't go to my parents or my teachers for help. They were still trying to figure out how to program the VCR. And the skills I learned through that process still serve me today. I use debugging methods in assessment, gaming theory in student engagement, interactive design in presentations and training. The most beneficial learning for me throughout my lifetime occurred outside the classroom. And when employers were asked to identify the top qualities they were seeking in new college grads, GPA, school reputation, classes, bottom of the list. At the top, according to the Chronicle of Higher Education, were skills outside of academics, internships, jobs, volunteering, and extracurriculars, which brings us to our work. I am tired of hearing that our work is value added. We are educators. Our work is value equal. We are ideally positioned to help students choose their own adventure, to provide the skills, the knowledge, the experiences and opportunities that encourage a lifetime of learning. As you may have guessed, these are my boys, my 3 boys featured in this presentation. At the end of the day, I don't ask them what they learned. I instead say, did you ask any good questions today? Because in a world where information has never been more accessible and the pace of change never greater, those who can curate and customize their learning and ask good questions are destined to take the lead. And the purpose of education must shift to teach us how to think, not what to think. Those who can figure out how to lay the foundations for this will be the most successful. In the end, the curious will win. Thank you very much.
Okay, so Katie, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. So I was fortunate enough for Sarah to send me a number of different Pecha Kuchas, and as you heard at the beginning, it's called something much more fluid than that. And I really liked this one because I thought it was very appropriate for us. We need to be asking questions throughout this whole process and not feel inhibited to really learn what we need to learn in order to be the best facilitators we can be, both for CAPA as well as just outside in life. So what's cool about these type of programs is they're often given by amateurs, and some of them have never even spoken to a large audience before. So why are we doing this for you? And I kind of alluded to this earlier. So I'm going to ask you to create a Pecha Kucha that you will give the night of the opening night of Leadership Academy, which is Wednesday night for all of us. So we are all going to go to the kitchen in Columbus, which is a participatory dining restaurant where we will all participate in making the meal. Or for those of us that aren't as good at making meals, we might just have a glass of wine and talk to people who are making the meal. But then afterwards, we're going to head back to headquarters, and as a group, we are going to do the Pecha Kucha, and maybe some LA facilitators will be with us as well. It depends on what activity they're required to do. But really, all we're going to ask of you on this is to put one together about why you're here, why you showed an interest in becoming a fit, and it'll be, a little fancier than, just some slide, a couple slides that write the words in it. We want you to spend 6 minutes and 40 seconds speaking to the my why. But I'd also like to suggest you take this a step further and connect it to your #1 leadership practice that you determine based on your LPI. It could be modeling the way, for example, and you knew that based on the description of modeling the way that it was your grandmother who always talked about the importance of being a role model, making good choices for your family and peers, and then from that day forward, you always kind of looked at leadership as a way to model the right behavior for others around you. That would just be an example of something you might want to talk about relating to your leadership practice. And as you saw in this, you want the imagery, the visual, to be very bright, colorful, and very little words, which I know for me would be very, very hard because I am the queen of words on PowerPoint, and I am embarrassed to say that, but it is something that I need to work on. So, so this is really to help you hone your storytelling skills, and it's going to be the story of you associated with why you wanted to be a fit. So a few logistical things about the presentations is, one, I would like to get them by Monday of Leadership Academy week. So you still have 2 months to work on this. And the reason for that is I'd like to just get them loaded on my computer, make sure I don't have any issues, so we have them ready to go when we get to headquarters. If you're having any trouble timing, the 20 seconds per slide, feel free to reach out to me. I've never done one, but I'm happy to brainstorm with you, just as I would be happy to brainstorm on anything with you relating to how to put this together. And then probably the most important thing is to practice, and to practice often. I certainly don't expect you to do this freehand like he did. You could have, I watched a different one that had, somebody was holding index cards, so it was probably an index card per slide. So totally expect that. Wouldn't expect you to be able to do it freehand, but if you can, kudos to you, and I will be very, very impressed. So I think that is it for the Pecha Kucha. In the interest of time, I'm just going to skip to the one-on-one coaching sessions, and then we'll stop for questions after I go through that. All right, so I can't believe it, but next week we actually start our one-on-one coaching conversations. I appreciate everybody signing up through Sign Up Genius. Another thing I did not know existed, and Sarah Bowman led me to that one as well. But appreciate you all signing up. Appreciate for some of the rescheduling. I actually purposely put all those dates out there because I was afraid I was going to have to reschedule, and sure enough, I do need to reschedule one more date because I'm going to be in Dallas that evening. But really what I'm trying to get at during these coaching sessions is just to get to know you. get to know your passions, your preferences for coaching and feedback, and just to get to know more about you, because the more I know, the better of a facilitator trainer I will be, and that will lead you to have a successful fit experience. And like I mentioned before, I'd like to understand, kind of what feedback you like to get. The more I know about each of you, the more I'll be able to custom my development of you individually. So, how do you like to receive feedback? What motivates you? And what do you see as success? So that I know that at the end of the 3-4 days we're together, 4 days, that you've reached what you deem as success. The other cool thing is I do expect you all to be different, which I think is awesome, because we need to revel in that as a group and to really learn from all of the differences, and using all that great dialogue that we have about diversity of a small group and figuring out how that applies when you become a facilitator. So not only is it hopefully going to build a great fit experience for you, but it will also help us just in terms of how to build a great group that you're facilitating. So all I ask is that you're as honest with me as possible. Whatever you share with me will stay between us unless you're okay sharing it with others. And I really only want to utilize it to make you the best facilitator that you can be. Hopefully you all received the worksheet that I sent out, How I Want to Be Coached. I have received it from a few people. If I'm coaching you next week, I would like to get it by Friday or Saturday morning, because I'll take the weekend to take a look through it and get ready for our sessions. My work has been a little crazy, so I've had a hard time being able to do a lot during the week. So if possible, I would like to get that in the beginning of the weekend so I could spend some time on it. So you can send it to the email address that I've been using. I will be sending some materials out after this call or tomorrow morning, and I will include that in there in case it got lost in some of your emails. So with that, let me stop here. We're doing pretty good on time, and just ask if there's any questions so far.
I don't have any at the moment, but I did want to tell you that I am so jealous that you guys are going to the kitchen. It is so much fun. So fun.
It is so great, isn't it? Yeah.
It is. Oh, I might have to.
Yeah, and I think Katie, they didn't do it last year, so so the first year they did it was the year we all went 3 years ago. So because you said you went 3 years ago, right?
Right, and we did it with LA 2.0 too.
Oh, awesome. Cool.
Oh, we have a question. Rebecca's curious if you can send an email with all of the deadlines and dates you've been discussing included.
Say that again, Katie?
Rebecca's wondering if you could, in your email, include all the deadlines or dates you've been talking about.
Sure.
Meeting things.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Looks like that's all the questions we have right now.
Okay, awesome. All right, so the last agenda item we have is to talk about the pre-work checklist that I sent you earlier today. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to get out of the presentation here and actually pull up the pre-work checklist so that you don't have to switch screens, so we can go through this. So the first thing is there's a cool blog called The Leadership Challenge Leader Talk by Kouzes and Posner. I actually went through it because I also had a requirement to go through and read at least one post of each of the 5 practices and 3 additional posts. So I was doing that for the last few days. And it's really neat. I mean, it's really, they're quick reads, or 3 to 5 minute reads, and it truly is like a blog. I'm actually going to use that to do some training with my team at work. I was telling Katie ahead of time that we've all kind of gotten into a rut because my company's going through some major change, and we can't seem to keep our feet under us. And so I told them that I wanted to start doing something more fun and more focused on development of each other. And so I think I'm going to use this. So that's why I love Leadership Academy, because then I always figure out what to do what to use outside of work. So again, it should only take you 15 minutes, but you might get sucked into some of the blogs because that's what happened to me when I was going through it. The next thing we need you to do is to go through Leadership Academy 101, and that's the event staff orientation. So it will be different than what you took as a participant. So that takes 45 minutes. Read the event staff handbook. Now this is the sort of funny. So you'll receive this from me in the email tonight or tomorrow. And it says pay particular attention to the role of the registration ambassador. It doesn't have it in there. And it's not called the event staff handbook, it's called roles and responsibilities. So Marla and I were laughing about this, and she just asked me to have you guys be patient, and she'll see if we actually do have something that talks about the role of the registration ambassador. But I'm going to be honest, I think most of you are probably pretty comfortable with greeting fellow sisters from near and far and talking to them, because I've never really known a Kappa not to be able to talk to another Kappa. So I think you'll be okay there. And we will make sure Wednesday night and Thursday morning you're clear on where you need to be and anything specific they may ask you to do, if anything. The next piece, which takes a little longer, is the review of the Leadership Academy curriculum. And prepare to facilitate a session of it to your peers, meaning the FIT group. There's only 2 practices that you guys will actually facilitate. The other 3 practices you're going to observe. So the 2 practices are model the way and challenge the process. And then the 3rd area you're going to facilitate is the opening night, some of the opening night activities. So I have assigned what each of you are going to be doing, and I will send that out in the email that goes out, including with the Leadership Academy curriculum, so you are familiar with what you are going to be facilitating. The only thing I ask you to do over the next couple months is to coordinate with the people you are co-facilitating with, so you know what part of the curriculum you're going to need to do. So my recommendation is you read through the curriculum so you understand the responsibilities, understand how many people are going to be facilitating in that module, and then working with them to divide it up appropriately. I will also make sure that I send you the email address with the appropriate person's name, because not all of the email addresses make it clear who's who. So I will make sure you have that as well. Complete the coaching session with the FIT facilitator, so you're all signed up for that, and I think we will be done with that by the end of July. I don't think we had to go into the beginning of August. I think I had a few dates in August, so we'll be done with that in July, so you won't have to worry about that. And then, you know, the other big part that we're going to ask you to do is to put the PechaKucha presentation together, which will be done again on Wednesday evening. And it says here the elements to include, you know, why you're taking part, the connection of the #1 leadership practice, and to do this through storytelling, talking about success, challenges, and learning moments. I will send you some other examples of PechaKucha presentations. There's one actually that's really cool. It's a PechaKucha about developing a PechaKucha. So I really liked that one. I thought that was a little redundant to show tonight. I wanted to show something a little bit more uplifting, but it was pretty funny. So I'll make sure you have that as well. And then the final piece is to review the travel instructions and suggested packing list. So if you haven't been to Leadership Academy in a few years, you might need a refresher. I always inevitably forget something, but that won't be needed to be done until probably the week of Leadership Academy, so you know what the weather's going to be like, so you know how much layers you need to bring and how much rain gear you need to bring, because as you know, everything is happens rain or shine. So that is the pre-work checklist. So before we do our last poll, let me ask if there's any questions about this.
I don't have any at the moment. We can hang out for just a second and give people a moment to type.
Perfect.
All right, no questions at the moment.
All right, awesome. Well, let's do our fun poll again. So we're going to ask.
Here it comes.
same poll that we asked at the beginning of the session. When you think about putting on your fit training hat in 8 weeks, does it make you pumped and ready to go, happy to be with sisters near or far, nervous and anxious at all there is to do, or all of the above? Just want to see if there's any change in feelings after going through tonight's presentation.
Well, it looks like things have shifted a little bit, maybe. Oh, votes are still coming in. Let me wait. Let me wait on the results. It'll be just a second. All right, I'm going to go ahead and close it now. So now we have 25% that are pumped and ready to go, and 75% that are all of the above.
All right, awesome. Very cool. Well, I'm really excited to work with all of you. Our next step now is the coaching sessions, one-on-one coaching sessions. I am going to be sending out the event guide to all of you as well, so you can see what's going to happen and when. If you think we need to have a quick webinar just to go through the event guide, just so you're clear before you get there Wednesday of everything that's happening, we can definitely do that. So let me know during the one-on-one sessions if you would like to have a half hour. It wouldn't even take a half hour get together just to go through it. Otherwise, we can quickly do it on Wednesday night. But I know sometimes it's nice just to get a bearings of what we're going to be doing for those 4 days. So thank you so much for taking time out tonight. I know this is a bit of a time commitment, but I'm really excited to work with all of you and meeting you in person on September, oh God, I forget the date now. I think it's 17th, or maybe it's the 15th, whatever that Wednesday is. And then I will look forward to talking to the first group next week on the coaching sessions. So thank you, everyone. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, Kim, for presenting this evening. It's been fabulous. Please no one be surprised if I show up in September. I'm very jealous. I'm going to go ahead and shut down the webinar, and when you close, you'll get a survey. Please take a moment. It'll provide some feedback for us. Otherwise, have a great evening.
Thanks, Katie. Appreciate it.